Whiskey as an Ochem project by Levi Kloss.
Michael Mikulski.
Ethan Rather.
Alrighty, so the first process of distilling whiskey is to isolate your starches into your sugars. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna add water and your starches that are gonna go into a big pot. We're gonna add our heat, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna break down the bonds within the starches, and you're gonna isolate your glucose out here. And that's the first step of distillation.
Different combinations of starches may be used to create whiskey. Woodinville likes to use corn, rye, wheat, and barley in particular.
After you have your sugar mixture, you will add yeast and produce ethanol.
Alrighty, so now that we've got our ethanol, we're going to actually start the distillation process. The distillation process is done because naturally, as the ethanol content increases, the yeast actually start to die off. It becomes a very toxic environment for them. So really, you're only getting about an 18% ABV. So what happens with the distillation, you're actually separating out the ethanol from the water, so you're getting pure ethanol. And so that's what's going to give you your really high alcohol content for what we want for whiskey and such.
As you can see from this selection of whiskeys, it's possible to proof it down to just about any amount of alcohol content that you would like.
Next is the actual distillation process. Here we're going to bring the temperature to 78 degrees where ethanol can vaporize into the condenser and be cooled down into pure ethanol to separate it from the water.
The mash with ethanol is then added to the still pot at Woodinville Whiskey, which is heated, and any ethanol is removed via evaporation into the condensation columns. After moving from the pot still into the distillation columns, the purity of the ethanol is increased by heating at 16 different stages in the Woodinville Whiskey column. Once you've distilled the alcohol from the water, you need to do another distillation to remove impurities such as methanol, which is toxic and boils at a lower temperature than ethanol.
Alright, after you've distilled out the methanol from the ethanol, then you're going to actually have to water it back down to your desirable alcohol content. After that, you're going to place it in an aging barrel, which can last from up to 18 months to really however long you want. It's all up to whoever is distilling their whiskey.
Good.
Different flavors in whiskey, aside from the mash ingredients, are also in part to the barrels that they are aged in, which has different adsorbents which contribute to their various flavors. Finally, you're left with your greatest bottle of BC whiskey.